So we mentioned earlier Sony had their the PlayStation event, and the PlayStation
where they
event
announced the Slim and the PlayStation Pro.
Yes, which we knew pretty much everything about both of these before the event.
Yeah, very nearly.
This may be the worst kept secret ever for the internet for a game developer, and
I don't know. NX tops it.
Okay.
Because we're still only supposed to know
we're speculating,
that it exists.
but we're speculating.
Yeah.
So now if it's if they announce it in December, and it's everything that we are speculating that the NX is now, then yeah, I mean I guess that. But we had drawings 2 or 3 weeks before. We had drawings of what the PS4 Pro looked like. The only thing we didn't have was the name. But we had drawings of what it looked like. We had speculation on price, which was exactly what I thought it was going to be. We had speculations on price. We had drawings. We had the only two things it didn't have. Sorry, the only two things that weren't leaked were the fact that the Pro does not do 4K Blu-ray, and the name, and that's it. Everything else we knew. Let's start with the PS4 Slim, which was initially leaked by someone who actually had their hands on it before it came out and bought it before it came out. Leak. Yeah, so we'll start with that. The Slim, I think those are specs. The Slim is I actually think it's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, it's slimmer. It has kind of more rounded edges than its predecessor.
Yeah, the aesthetics, like some people were complaining about it. I don't care. I'm not going to look at it. I'm looking at the screen where I'm playing my games. It does kind of remind me of a modem when it's vertical like that.
It looks like my modem sitting right over there almost.
Yeah,
I mean,
very much so.
Yeah. So there's it with all its accessories, which it doesn't really surprise me.
I am kind of bummed though that even with VR coming out,
yes,
which will be plugged in via USB,
yes,
that we've still only got 2 USB ports. That's a problem.
It's all we have for the Xbox as well.
Yeah, we need more of those.
I know that we're in an age now where a lot of devices are linked via Bluetooth. But if you have, let's say you got Lego Dimensions, that's USB. Let's say you have Disney Infinity, that's USB. Yeah. PlayStation VR, that's USB.
Yep.
I don't want to mess with cables. I want to get everything set the way it needs to be set,
and then
run the cables,
walk away and leave it alone. Yeah.
That way I can just walk up and play it. I mean, I like that. I mean, there's really not a lot to say about the PlayStation other than the aesthetics of it being more rounded. I like it. I mean, it's smaller, it's sleeker. Hopefully, it not quite
also
sleeker,
quieter.
Way
quieter.
That's really what it boils down to. Both the Xbox One S and the Slim are quieter. They're more efficient in what they do.
Yeah.
But here's where we change gears, because Xbox
Gatling gears.
Yeah.
Here's where we change Gatling gears.
So the Xbox One S was meant to be a slim version of the Xbox One, with slight upgrades in efficiency of power,
right? With
speed of it actually does run games. Your load times are a little bit better, and it does 4K streaming. So that's cool.
Yeah.
The PlayStation Slim does not do 4K streaming.
It does 4K streaming.
It does. I thought it didn't.
Yeah, it does 4K.
The Slim?
No, the Slim does.
The Slim.
Yeah.
You can double check me.
You're right.
You can double check me. Really, what I'm getting into is the PlayStation's announced a Slim and the PlayStation 4 Pro. Xbox announced their Xbox One S, which is out, and then the Xbox Scorpio, which is coming out a year from now. So if you try to compare these, you're not comparing straight up apples to apples anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so the PlayStation 4 Slim does not do 4K streaming. The Xbox One S does 4K streaming, does 4K Blu-ray. So when it comes to media, Xbox has completely locked this down.
The Slim does 4K Blu-rays?
4K Blu-rays, yes. Huh. The Slim has a 4K Blu-ray player, 4K streaming, Netflix, 4K streaming, everything.
Which is bizarre because PlayStation for a long time. I mean, the first one played CDs, and you could use it as a music player. And then the PlayStation 2 was DVDs, and the PlayStation 3 and 4 were Blu-rays. And
because Sony has the copyright on Blu-rays.
Yeah.
They're one of the copyright holders. They're the majority copyright holder on it, though.
Yeah.
But they opted out with the PlayStation 4 Pro. Opted out
to bring down the price.
Because they wanted to hit that $400 price point.
Yeah.
They brought down the price, and they're also hedging on what they believe is that Blu-ray and 4K Blu-ray are going to kind of do their own thing, and then streaming is really the wave of the future.
Yeah.
I can't really fault them on this completely. I just think it's really funny that they have part of me wishes there was an option.
Yeah,
$500 model,
which is what I thought the Pro was going to be.
A lot of people did. So the Pro instead, we got here's our first look at the Pro as the Pro. Yeah, that's the Pro. See, it looks so much like a sandwich. So again, on the vertical stand,
you can tell
because it's got the 3.
Yep.
So the sandwich design, as people are referring to it,
nom nom nom
nom nom nom nom nom. So you have the bread and that meat inside, and the PlayStation 4, the Pro looks good in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think that it missed the mark in a couple ways. I think some people were hoping that the PlayStation 4 Pro would be almost as good as the Scorpio.
Yeah.
And what we're hearing from the developers that are working on Scorpio, and obviously Scorpio's a year out, we don't have the full specs and everything, but we're hearing, that thing's about half as powerful.
Right.
So,
which is still twice-ish as powerful as the... Yeah, it's stuff's gotten weird and confusing, and I'm not a huge fan, but I still get to play games, and I'm going to keep my PlayStation 4 until it dies.
Yeah, the thing is, the PlayStation 4 uses DDR5 RAM.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The Xbox One uses DDR3.
Mm-hmm.
The Xbox One S, DDR3.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
So
I don't know.
Now we do have the specs on this. I'm going to give you what I would consider the actual specs. These are the actual specs on it. If you speak geek. So you have an increase in CPU processing. This is an 8 Jaguar. These are both Jaguar architecture. Mm-hmm. It is not the same chip.
Yeah.
You have double the components in regards to GPU. Mm-hmm. It's considerably better in regards to GPU. I know 911 compared to 100 doesn't sound like that much. It is.
Yeah.
The memory on this, you both have DDR5, but it's considerably quicker. Considerably better transfer speed. The Xbox One here, you have the actual specs on that. You can see the Xbox One's just a little bit better than the PS4 in regards to CPU. It is still less in regards to the actual graphical computing units, whatever it's called. But it's a little bit better than the PS4 in regards to GPU. Again, still using DDR3, but it's a decent speed on that.
Yeah.
Now here's where we get into the fun stuff, because obviously we are speculating, but the speculation on the Scorpio is considerably better now. The speed is about the same, is a little bit in between the PS4 and PS4 Pro. You got a little bit more for hyper-threading on there. You have much more bandwidth when it comes to the memory. I'm really hoping this is DDR5 like they're mentioning, but really what it boils down to is the Scorpio is more than likely going to be more powerful. But let's talk about the 4K content. So this is the Pro. So 4K content's going to be 2K TV stuff optimized for 1080p. Who has a 2K TV?
Nobody. Nobody has a 2K TV.
So
moving on.
4K TV. If it is 4K, it's going to display it native. It's going to just stream it through. And if it's 4K display the content. So if the content is HDR supported, it will display in HDR. The high dynamic range, I think, is the biggest thing we should be hitting on here. Yeah. Also, if you look on the right hand side, they're basically saying if it's less than 1080, it'll upscale to 1080. If it is 1080, it'll try to upscale to 4K. And if it's HDR compliant, it'll HDR compliant.
Also interesting, people who are looking to purchase a 4K TV now, both the Xbox One Slim and the Scorpio and the PlayStation Pro, all of those are using HDR10 rather than Dolby, which those were the two, which means that Dolby's out, and
more than likely HDR10 is going to be the one that takes the cake. And they even mentioned this in the conference. I always forget the guy's name, the head architecture. Cerny. So Cerny even mentioned it in his speech, which I love the guy. I really wish they would just let him talk instead of read off a teleprompter.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it, you're hearing him read, marketing speak. But he did mention, he was very clear about this, and I'm glad they pointed this out. HDR, high dynamic range. There are multiple formats. There is not a specific guideline on them yet.
Yeah,
that's all being ironed out.
Standardized.
Yeah,
well, so it's kind of a hope this works.
So what I'm hoping will happen is the fact that these companies are all have all put their money in on this, and because of the market share and how many units of these will be in people's houses, especially with PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 will patch for HDR
to all units.
To all units,
including mine. Which
to all units.
I don't have to spend any money for that.
Then your game will have to patch, which I'll talk about that in a second. But I'm glad that this is coming out, and I'm glad that people are all getting on board, because as much as we like different competing ideas, one has to win out in regards to formats.
Yeah.
In regards to format, one has to win out, because otherwise you're cannibalizing yourself. So I'm hoping that HDR10 is that. The only reason I'm saying that, I love Dolby. The only reason I'm saying that is because I want a complete format, so that way we can have multiple adoptions of it. That way, maybe not next year, but the year after, every TV you buy will have the HDR10.
Yes.
That's the other thing people aren't talking about. They're saying, okay, HDR is going to push out to every single PlayStation. Beautiful. And they're saying, if you don't worry about it because you're going to have HDR. I have what was a top of the line 1080p Samsung Smart TV. Now it is 4 years old now. I had to double check. It's a 4-year-old TV, but it was a top of the line 1080p. It does not do HDR.
Yeah.
Now I took a look at some of the Samsung, Sony, and some others. If you're getting the baseline or maybe the 2 or 3 at the bottom list of 4K, they don't do HDR.
Yeah.
So
what are we doing here, people?
So now the important thing about HDR though. HDR makes more of an effect on your eye than the 4K. 4K is beautiful for clarity, in regards to the pixels.
Also for putting your nose on the screen and looking at a picture. It works really well for that.
It's great if you have, I think I've mentioned this before. If you have a TV that is over, 32 inches? They did a scientific study on the human eye.
Yeah.
Can you tell the difference between 720 and 1080? And if you're on a TV or even computer monitor that is under 30 or 32 inches, your eye cannot tell the difference.
Yeah.
So when you go up to, say, 50 inches or 60 inches, the difference between 1080 and 4K, it's slightly noticeable. But it's there. It is there. And then if you get further. But high dynamic range, it is basically, the quickest way I can explain this is the contrast that our eyes used in regards to black levels, in regards to the color depth. TVs aren't very good at producing this. It's another thing that I'm really glad they talked about in PlayStation.
Particularly for HBO. I'm sorry, Game of Thrones is poorly lit, and they're inconsistent with the lighting, and
I need to come over and calibrate
different
your TV.
Angle shots.
Yeah. I'm gonna check out your TV.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Let's see if it may help. That's the other thing, that proper calibration in regards to televisions. Most people don't even do that.
I turned off the
smoothing,
the sports motion smoothing nonsense. Then I leave it alone.
If you guys have that, just remove it from your TV. And Samsung, Sony, every single TV manufacturer, turn it off. What I would love if there was a way in the broadcast signal for the actual broadcaster and the source material to say, hey, this is live sporting, or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah. And
then for your TV to click on with that mode. And then if I click away from it and I go over to any TV show or movie, it'll go back to 30 or 24. Because even if you have a high refresh rate on your TV, your source material is in 20 to 30.
Bad.
Yeah, 24 is a movie, 30 frames a second for TV, 24 frames per second for a movie, and it looks better. It looks better unless you're watching a live sporting event. So, anyways, really what it boils down to is I think that the PlayStation 4 Pro is it's a good step up. But what I forecast happening is 3 to 4 years from now, we will get a new iteration again on top of that, where Xbox will not have to do that.
Okay.
You will get it won't be called PlayStation. It'll be called PlayStation something. It won't be called Pro.
Right.
Oh man, if it was called the PS4 Pro 2, that would just be stupid. But I forecast about 3 to 4 years they're gonna have to keep up again because they're trying to launch this a little early, and I don't think it's quite ready. But that's my prediction.
Okay, that's your prediction. My prediction is 2 years from now.
Oh!
Get one. I think they're going to go. I think they're because
you think it's gonna be like
this was a 4-year cycle.
Yes.
And then we have the next iteration that is the same thing mostly, but yeah.
No.
And so I predict that in 2 years we'll get this one, and I think it'll be staggered every other year. There will be a new console and then 2 years from Scorpio we'll get the next Xbox.
I don't think you'll get that. I don't think for Scorpio. I think Scorpio will have an further extension.
Okay.
But let's see. But
if the PlayStation 4 and Scorpio work, if those sell, they will absolutely release one sooner.
I think maybe a Slim or something like that, but I don't think it'll be very different in regards to architecture. But but I think a lot of people are missing a point in regards to 4K HDR. Okay, my TV's not ready for it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Your gaming experience is going to be considerably better on this console, though. So anyone who picks it up, your load times are going to be a lot better. They're already showing games. They showed a little bit of this, but I'll from a architectural perspective and a gameplay perspective, you're just going to be smoother. You're going to have a lot better in regards to your not only resolution but frame rate. Everything is going to run better. They're going to be able to push the limits further on this. And in 2 years, PlayStation, there are games that will come out for PlayStation 4 that will not run as well on the regular PlayStation 4 base model. Okay. I would like. I know. You're just running into the ground.
I just want to play the game.
Yeah.
Because and Colin talks a lot about this. Colin from Kind of Funny talks a lot about this. He says we're playing prettier versions of the same games that we were playing last generation or even PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Show me a game that's doing something that couldn't be done, last generation or whatever.
Yeah.
What are we really doing here? And yeah, there's graphical upgrades. It can be prettier or whatever. Gameplay is what matters.
Yeah.
Binding of Isaac is not demanding or anything. It started off as a Flash game, and it's basically cardboard cut. It's South Park almost.
Yeah.
It's just these little cardboard cutouts running around and sprites on the screen. Cool. That's what I play more than anything. Spelunky could have been released with slightly worse graphics, like the procedurally generated stuff, the Nemesis system.
Sure.
That's what's interesting to me is when game developers iterate.
The Nemesis system couldn't work on PlayStation 3.
I know.
That's why it couldn't.
Right, but what I'm saying is that, and then procedurally generated is another one that earlier they couldn't do it because it couldn't. The system couldn't generate this stuff on its own. Yeah. It needed to be handed something to produce.
Yeah. Now, unless you are part of the PC master race, then when it comes to consoles, especially if you're used to handheld a lot, I mean, it also depends on the game style that you want. But if you're a graphics hog, and I used a slightly different word for that for a purpose, if you are all about that and a glutton for graphics, that's fine. That's you.
Yeah.
I care more about efficiency. I like the different systems because for the game console to be able to run something, I think is important. For it to run something new like a Nemesis system. But to me, the ability, which we're seeing in a jump now for like the PlayStation. I'm hoping that the remaster for Skyrim, which we're going to actually talk about in just a second, I'm hoping that what we'll actually see with that is a lot of the implementation of things that were done on mods that couldn't work on consoles. Because even now with the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro, you're still not doing what a lot of PCs can do. If you're wanting to talk graphically, but now we're in a point where the PS4 and Xbox One S can compete at least with a lot of the different modes.
Yeah.
One in particular was, I think I mentioned this before, open cities on Skyrim. When you go and you're in the open world, if you go into a city, you'll have a loading time. When you're in the city, there's a patch, there's a mod for the PC version that it just opens the doors.
Yeah.
And
you go in and you go to the next part.
Yeah. So I think that there's a lot of advancements when it comes to that, and I'm hoping the PS4 Pro and the Scorpio will be able to take advantage of that. So we will have what we should have right now, which Cessler mentioned 2 years ago. We should now be in a generation where load screens are a thing of the past. Yeah. If it's done the right way, load screens should be a thing of the past. Especially with the fact that the Xbox One and PS4, I put a disc in and it's installing to the hard drive anyways.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
No
arguments. That's as good a place as any to segue away from the
yes.
PlayStation 4 Pro.
Thank you for listening
and his
that.
Technical, and I listened to, and my mind wandered. If you see me gazing off into the distance at any point while you're watching this video, that's not my fault. He kept going.
It's important technical information for you guys. And we need to give you that technical information in a easily digestible format.
Right. So segueing away from all that and into news. The mods that you were talking about.
Yes.
Actually, I'm going to go ahead and jump into that one. So Bethesda has come forward and said that the Skyrim mods that they were planning for the Ultimate Mega Super Duper Edition.
Yep. Remastered.
As well as the Warcraft mods that we were promised aren't coming to PlayStation because Sony. I forget the exact phrasing, but they said something along the lines of, they won't allow us to implement them in a way that makes sense, and that's very confusing. I don't know what exactly is going on there, but they got Fallout mods on Xbox in May.
Yes,
I want to say
yes,
and so I'm looking forward to playing this game. But like mods and things, the modding community is amazing.
Yes, and
I was looking forward to that.
I think a lot of people are looking forward to it, and the other thing is you're looking at this beautiful remaster of Skyrim. This is still not as good looking as the PC version, and I think that's what is kind of sad when it comes to, like I said, for graphically, it's not quite there. But in regards to being able to select mods and load mods, I think that's what Sony more than anything was trying to limit. I think the what Bethesda was referring to was Sony would. My guess is Sony said, okay, we're going to allow it, but you have to do X, Y, Z, and that did not translate to an easy way for you to sit on your console and load it up. So I think that it was more of ease in regards to development and for the user. Specifically for the user in regards to play, because Bethesda loves their modding community, but they also they also want everything to be easily accessible. And I think that's a big part of it. It's sad. I hope that this will change, but I don't think it's going to unless Sony decides, okay, we're wrong.
And reach out to them. Hit them up on Twitter and Facebook. Like if
this is something you want, tell them.
Yeah. And it is something that you should want, and you should tell them. Yeah. So I'm gonna change it. Not an if. This is a TWIOCH directive.
Yeah.
We need to push them because we are their customers. They're here to serve us.
Yeah. Thank you for watching This Week in Our Collective Heads. Subscribe to watch more content that was like that or different.
And communicate to us. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. We are on Twitch. We are all over the place. You can pretty much find us as This Week in Our Collective Heads or TWIOCH. except we're TWIOCH Gaming on Twitch. So find us there, communicate with us, we'll hit you back.
Love you guys.
Thank you.